I'm on a mission to make everything about me, and I love that for myself. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I am here to review season 4, episode 6 of the Real Housewives with Toxic Moms of Salt Lake City. So we start the episode off right where we left off with Monica telling Angie K about the rumor she heard about her husband sleeping with men behind her back. So Angie K is completely shocked. She's like, what? Meredith said what? I need to go talk to her. So she proceeds to charge on Meredith, and you know deep down inside, Angie K was probably like, yippee, I finally have a storyline, yippee! So she gets to Meredith, she's like, excuse me, Meredith, can we go over here for a second so I can talk to you for a quick minute about something? Meredith is just like, sure, why not, Angie K? What's the problem? What's going on? So Angie K proceeds to go on to say, you've been spreading all these rumors about my husband, and I don't appreciate that. Meredith was caught off guard, and she's like, wait, what do you mean? I never said anything about your husband and who he was sleeping with behind your back. What are you talking about? And let's make it very clear that, yeah, until now, Meredith has never mentioned anything about Sean sleeping with other men behind Angie K's back. All she said was, you want to talk about the husbands? Because we can, and she has some rumors on him. But until Meredith clears that up and what she was talking about and referring to in Palm Springs, it's going to look a little fishy. Like the timing of it is just a little bit like, oh, Meredith, are you sure? And then at the same time, Whitney manipulated this whole situation in her favor because, I mean, we're really going off by what Whitney said. Whitney and Monica come over and Whitney starts accusing Meredith like, yeah, you did, Meredith. You did spread those rumors to me at the airport. I remember you said that. And Meredith is just looking at her like, what are you talking about? I don't even speak to you. And I just don't understand what Whitney's issue is with Meredith. Like, if anything, she should be upset with you for bringing an uninvited guest to her Palm Springs trip in the first place. Yet for some reason, Whitney is on this mission to take Meredith down. And this is not the first time we've seen it on the show either. So then Angie K is like, you have gone after everybody's marriage in the group, yet you're the only one spreading your legs outside of your marriage. Meredith, that's where she had enough and her pointing finger came out. She put it in her face and she's like, you will not speak to me like that. You will speak to me with respect. I have been on this show for 4 seasons. You will not talk to me like that. So she storms off, but Angie K, like an angry chihuahua, she follows behind her and she's like, run away, Meredith, run away. I guess it's not respectful when it's the other way around, right? Meredith was so dramatic with her cape. I mean, she was walking around like this, just throwing it around like, no, Angie K, no, that is disrespectful. You will not speak about my marriage like that. Like the theatrics were on a 10. So she goes over there with Lisa and Mary. Lisa is oblivious to what's going on and she tells Meredith, oh my God, I just love that we're all together. I really think that this was a good idea. I'm like, Lisa, not right now. They're fighting. So then Angie K, oh my goodness. It was like watching Teresa chase Danielle all through the country club in New Jersey, except this was a less iconic and less memorable moment because Angie K comes over with Whitney and she starts following Meredith around. And then on top of that, she kneels down. And I'm like, Angie, at least get a chair or something. But she's on her knees in front of Meredith and she's like, you will speak to me like this face to face. Meredith, can you please look at me? Please look at me because I need a snowflake for this season. Please look at me. Meredith, she's just looking around like, she's just looking around outside at the window at the snowstorm and everything. And again, her outfit was just so dramatic, right? And she's like, first of all, Angie K, I will not speak to you right now. I will not talk to you right now because you're talking about my marriage and I do not appreciate that. So she gets up again and she proceeds to walk away. And then right as she's walking past Angie K proceeds to do a no-no, just like last episode. She grabs her arm and Angie K, I'm not sure between her and Whitney, I'm not sure who's racing to get their ass beat first on this show. She proceeds to grab Meredith and Meredith is just like, don't touch me. Do not touch me. Let me go. Do not touch me. And then that's when the Queen of England starts to come out of Meredith again. And she's like, you need to respect me and you need to respect my marriage. You will not talk to me like that anymore. I'm going to leave until you get some respect. And then Whitney's looking at this like, oh my God, what's going on? What's happening? Why is everybody fighting? Maybe because you started this by putting the batteries in Monica's back. And unfortunately, Monica took the bait and she told Angie K, and now we're here. So I'm not sure why she's acting surprised. Heather, she comes over and she's like, what's going on? What's happening? Monica, she fills her in and she's like, well, Sean supposedly has been fucking other men behind her back. I'm like, Monica, please, not right now. Meanwhile, Mary, she's sitting there and she's just looking around like, I wasted this outfit coming here. So she starts telling Lisa, I'm hungry. Do you have any food here? Lisa, I believe she orders her a piece of bread or a piece of pizza, something like that. Monica comes over to sit next to Mary and she's like, you know what? You're right. A piece of bread or a piece of food will actually make everybody feel better. Mary's looking at her like, what do you mean everybody? This is for me. If you want some bread, you have to get your own. She refuses to befriend Monica, but I like that Monica is persistent and she's like, no, we're gonna be besties by the end of this season. Mary goes to get her food at the counter and she asks the employee why her food is not in the to-go box. The employee tells her, well, I just didn't want to touch her food with my bare hands. And then Mary proceeds to say, oh, really? So I have to do this by myself? This is the type of customer service you got? You're so lazy. You don't want to do your job. You're so lazy. And just like how Lisa was trashed last week when she explained that whole tanning salon story about her throwing a tantrum to get her way, Mary, you're also trash for acting like that towards the employees. You know, it's one whole thing with how the housewives treat each other on the show, but it's a whole different thing with how they treat the staff and the employees of whatever they're doing. And that just wasn't cute. It wasn't cute or it wasn't cool when Lisa did it last week and explained that whole story. And it wasn't cute when you did it, Mary. So that's that. Eventually, Angie K walks away. She leaves. Meredith, she walks away and she leaves as well. And Lisa, we're left with her in the confessional saying, well, you know what? I really don't understand how Meredith could victimize herself in this whole situation when the real victim is Angie K. And me, because this is my party. Like, Lisa will find one way or another to make anything about her. Then we head over to Angie K's White House and she's sitting on one side of the bed. Her husband, Sean, he comes in and he's sitting on the other side of the bed. So Angie K tells him, so Sean, there has been some rumors that Meredith has said to this group about you supposedly sleeping with men behind my back. And I'm surprised that Sean even managed to hear anything that she was saying because, like I said before, the bed is huge. So if I was Sean, I'll be sitting on the other side like, what? You know, just call me. I can't hear you. Big ass bed. But Sean, I mean, the theatrics continue because he's like, well, I mean, you know, Angie K, I mean, it's going to be hard to tell Electra that, you know, because it's not about being gay, straight, anything. It's just, I don't like that people are saying that I'm cheating on you, like the infidelity, like, that's the thing that I can't live with. Like, I don't like that because our daughter Electra, she has to grow up to that, you know? Come on, cry. Why am I not crying? Give me 1 second. Yeah. I'm like, oh, Sean, you know, I mean, I already said how I felt about this whole situation last review, but I did feel for him. But at the same time, I'm looking at him like, where's the tears? But even Angie K told her husband, you've been hearing about this rumor about yourself for 30 years now, ever since you became a hairdresser. And let's put the aspect of him allegedly sleeping with men to the side, right? Let's just focus on him having an affair behind Angie K's back. You two still willingly signed up to do this show, knowing there's a possibility of that rumor coming to light and somebody discussing it and questioning you about it. And yet now you're worried about your daughter Electra finding out about any of this when she's older? That's the part that doesn't make sense to me. Then we head over to Monica's house, and I really appreciated the scene between her and her 4 daughters. It felt very realistic, the way she was making breakfast for them. They're rushing around the house to get ready last minute to get dropped off at school. The whole scene just felt very real, right? And even the conversation on their way to school in the car, it was very nice, you know, like the morning talk, like you're trying to talk to your daughters. Until one of the youngest was like, oh, Mom, I said a bad word. I said the B word. I said boner. And I mean, kids are not dumb. They will pick up on your lingo and what you're saying, but why would a kid her age know that word specifically? I don't know. I found it kind of odd. And then the other baby who was drinking a bottle, she takes that out her mouth and she's like, oh yeah, boner is a bad word. And I don't know, but regardless, the whole scene was very cute between all 5 of them. And I like that even though we're only 6 episodes in, you know, we've seen many different sides to Monica so far. Like, I feel like I'm actually connecting with her. You know, not only did she have an affair, she was an informant to Jen Shah, but she could also be messy, stir up gossip, also stand up to herself and, have her own beliefs and have a backbone and not be a doormat to any of the cast members. But at the same time, we've seen her home life with her daughters and her mom, and I appreciate that. And speaking of kids, we see Lisa and her oldest son, Jack, going out to the nail salon to get their feet done. Lisa starts telling him about the mission. And I wish that they would call it something else, because every time they bring up this mission, all I picture is him in a Kim Possible outfit, like, what's the stitch? But Lisa's telling Jack, Jack, I know you're going on a mission soon. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, how is it? Like, are you worried? Like, it's kind of iconic, honestly. And Jack, he's very nonchalant about everything. Like, it's my decision and everything. Like, I'm going, I'm ready or whatever. Lisa brings up the conversation that she had with Heather at her party, where Heather asked her if she thinks that this mission that Jack is going on is a good idea. And what did Lisa do? Like any religious person, the second that you start talking to them with logic and questioning certain things that are not making sense, what do? Oh no, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Let's talk about something else. Because they know deep down inside what you're saying or what you're questioning makes sense, but they can't question it or they can't back out of it now because they dedicated their whole entire life or belief into this one religion. And that's exactly what Lisa's doing. And then she goes on to say, well, this mission is much better than teen pregnancy and doing meth. And I'm like, okay. But then she tells Jack, I'm just so glad that I've been such a good mom to you and that you managed to make such good choices in your life. And Jack made sure to tell his mom, no, I chose this mission because of me. Because I know that he probably knows that his mom thinks that everything is just revolves around her and she wants to take credit for his decisions. And he's like, no, Mom, this is about me, not you. Lisa and Whitney head over to Angie K's white home and she has a bunch of food and drinks out for them. But Lisa wants more and she asks her, do you have any Diet Coke? I love Diet Coke. If you don't have any Diet Coke, it's okay. I'll get one on the way home. Can I touch? I totally love this. So they sit down to talk about Angie, kind of, before Lisa makes it about herself. But Angie, she updates them and she's like, well, you guys, I actually talked to my husband, Sean, about those rumors that Meredith put on him. And he's really devastated and he started to cry. And Angie K, first of all, Angie K was very, very pretty. She looked very, very pretty this whole episode. And she starts getting all emotional. But before she could have her own moment, right? Lisa out of nowhere, she kidnaps the whole entire conversation. And she's like, oh my God, it's so funny because I felt the same way when Meredith came at me like that about those rumors. I feel the same way. Me and my husband, John, and our kids, we all felt the same way. So I completely get what you're saying. And I'm like, Lisa. And you could just tell that Whitney is like noticing, like, what are you doing? She's looking over like, this is not about you. This is about Angie K. So Angie K, she continues on and she's like, it completely devastated the dynamic at home between my husband and our daughter, Electra. Here comes Lisa. Oh my God, it did the same thing to my home too with my husband, John. And on top of that, Monica, what was that about? Like her saying that I'm on a jet plane with Snoop Dogg? What's that about? Why is she lying on me like that? Like, I just don't understand. Why is she coming at me like that? Like, it just makes no sense. And I'm like, Lisa. And I'll be such a hypocrite because I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not in the past, but I do the same exact behavior as Lisa. I do the same thing as her, except I work on it and I've gotten much better with it. But Lisa, it seems like she's kind of stuck in her ways, but Whitney, she jumps in it and she's trying to move the conversation back over in Angie's direction. And she's like, Lisa, I understand that you have a lot of feelings and everything, but right now we need to focus on our besties right here. Angie K, she needs to earn her snowflake for this season, and she needs to heal on this healing journey, and we're here to talk about her feelings. You know what I'm saying, Lisa? So Angie, she kind of starts talking about Heather and her relationship with that. She went out with her recently, and Heather's like, you know what? After everything that happened in Palm Springs and everything that you've gone through, which I'm not sure why Heather was trying to victimize Angie K and trying to make it seem that everybody was coming at her when she showed up on the trip uninvited. So I'm not sure what that was about, but she's like, after everything that you went through, I don't think I could have gone through all of that. So you know what? I'd rather give you another chance and, maybe we could work things out. Why did she tell that to Lisa? Because Lisa started spiraling out of control. She's like, what do you mean? What do you mean Heather gave you another chance? She really gave you another chance? Are you serious? You hung out with Heather, but yet she treated me like a terrible person for 3 years. Like, I just don't like that because now my children were looking at me as if I was a bad mom or something. And it's not fair. Like, I get it that you have your own feelings, Angie K, and I get your whole experience with Heather, but it's just not fair. It's not fair at all. I'm like, Lisa, you are a hot ass mess. Like, what are you doing? Like, she was so easily triggered by that conversation. And obviously, she still has some pent up anger from Heather and even at some point Meredith. But I mean, Lisa, you brought this all upon yourself, though. So, continuing with the theme of the episode, spending time with your children, we see Meredith and her son Brooks in the middle of the highway. He's driving the truck. It's snowing outside, and they're on their way to this activity called snowshoeing, which I never heard of that before. I had to Google it, and apparently it's when you walk on snow. I didn't know there was a term for it, but apparently you have these machines underneath your feet to help you maneuver through the snow if it gets a little bit too difficult. It looks like a cool activity though. Meredith explains to us that after she left Lisa's party earlier, her and her friend Kathy were on their way home, but when they were on the highway was so slippery due to the ice that it made the car lose control and spin around, and it almost went over the cliff, and she possibly could have died in it. Luckily, everything was fine. She was good. She's still here, thankfully. But imagine how traumatic that could have been. I mean, even just looking at Brooks driving, which first of all, Brooks, I don't think you should be driving around with those ski goggles. I feel like that's already dangerous enough. But even seeing him drive the little narrow highway that he was on, that looked scary itself. So I could only imagine. But what I did find weird though is how she's explaining the situation in the confessional. She's crying about it. And then I start listening to the goofy music playing in the background. And then they cut to a picture of the accident with the caption saying Meredith's accident with the word accident in quotations, as if she's joking about it or playing around with it. Like, I just don't understand that. And she wasn't too happy about that either, because on Twitter she expressed how it was nothing to poke fun of because she almost lost her life. And because of that, she didn't want her last moments of life being with Angie K and having that whole argument. So she wanted to spend time with her loved ones now with Brooks. So she starts asking him, so Brooks, what's going on in the dating world? Are you dating anybody specifically, honey? What's going on? And Brooks, he's like, well, I mean, I just got out of a serious relationship, so I'm not really looking for a boyfriend. I'm kind of enjoying being single, but thank you for asking. So they park the car and they start putting on their snowshoeing equipment. They both have to bend over to try to attach it to their shoes. Meredith, she's struggling. Brooks, he's like, oh, Mom, you know, it's such a stretch to do this. Meredith, she was just like, oh, well, honey, maybe you need to stretch a little bit more. And then Brooks, he tells his mom, oh, Mom, it's fine. You know, I already get stretched out enough. And I'm like, not the stretched out booty hole. Like, I thought I came to a classy party. What do you mean? And then Meredith was just like, all right, that's enough. The whole moment caught me off guard. It was cute though. And then Brooks, he finally put his shoes on, right? And then he proceeds to run around and he's like, if that wasn't me, but it was cute though, it was cute. We see more of Monica, her mom, and her grandmother heading to a senior center home so her grandmother could spend more time with other elderly people. They're playing games, they're playing cards, they're having a good time, right? Until Monica and her mother separate themselves from the group to chat. And I'm looking at the scarf that Monica's mom has on, and I'm like, wait a minute. Is that a Louis Vuitton scarf that I see? I thought we couldn't afford that. What's going on? But then she starts explaining to Monica how she went on a date with this one guy, but he ghosted her because she told him that she wants to be celibate. He couldn't take that, so he disappeared. And Monica feels that this is her way of still trying to connect to the Mormon church. Even though she's not a part of it anymore officially, this is her way of saying, oh, look, I'm still a good person. And this whole entire conversation from beginning all the way to end between both of them was very triggering to me because I have been in Monica's shoes so many times about this very same conversation, this very same topic, right? Because then the mom starts telling her, you're going to put them in the church, right? They need to have a relationship with Jesus. Monica tells her, when you took me out the Mormon church, you came to me and you apologized for putting me through that. Why would I do the same thing to my daughters? The mom, she was like, no, I never said that. What are you talking about? Monica's like, yes, you did. You came to me and you told me that. But the mom, she doesn't care. She just disregards all of that, her feelings and her beliefs. And she just wants to push her beliefs on her daughters. And she's like, no, Monica, no. They need to go to church every single Sunday. They need to have a relationship with Jesus. There needs to be some type of prayer. And Monica's mom is so full of shit because, again, she wants to separate herself from the church, yet she wants to push it on somebody else's kids. But she wants to come off as if she's holier than thou, as if she's a better person, simply because she's following the church's rule of being celibate. But are you following all the other requirements that they want? No, right? I'm pretty sure you're not. So just because you're grasping onto this one little thing, just because you're not sleeping with somebody, doesn't make you an angel automatically. It doesn't make you perfect, Monica's mom. Like, such a hypocrite. That's what kills me about people who are just so, headstrong about religion and trying to force it on somebody by saying, oh, you have to do this. This is not what the Bible says, blah, blah, blah. But yet you want to sin from Monday through Saturday, but then sit in church on Sunday, and all of a sudden it's, oh, all of my sins that I did the whole entire week, that doesn't matter because I'm celibate. I'm here on Sunday. That's what counts, right? No. And then on top of that, I'm pretty sure the church wouldn't like your behavior acting like this either, right? Trying to push something like this onto somebody else. And she's like, Monica, I can't believe this. And Monica, I'm glad that Monica did not fold either because, sometimes in situations like this, you seem to fold simply because you don't want to disrespect your mom. But I'm glad that she's standing up to her and saying, no, lady, you're full of shit. And she's like, well, the church didn't stop me from getting pregnant at 19, right? What did the mom say? Nothing. She stayed quiet because, again, people just like Lisa earlier, you want to pick and choose what exactly matters and what doesn't, right? And then I believe the mom tried to make it about herself. And she's like, oh, well, I struggled when I was a single mom. Monica was like, well, I'm a single mom too. Well, that was kind of by choice, though. Monica, let's not bring that, Pandora's box up again with that whole situation with the brother-in-law. And they both started comparing like, I'm poor. No, I'm poor. No, but I was the poorest. They started having a back-to-back. And then the mom was really competing with her daughter. Like, it was actually pretty scary. And again, it was very triggering seeing this whole conversation. And then I believe Monica, she finally put the cherry on top and she's like, look, a person like you should not be talking to me about me like this on the phone. Because one time when we were on the phone, you thought you hung up, but no, you were still on the phone and you started talking bad about me saying, oh, she's a piece of shit. She's garbage. She's a terrible human being, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, we see the grandmother in the background. Hey, stop talking like that. I would have told her so quickly, shut up, Granny. I'm having an argument with my mother. I'm sorry, I'll bake you cookies later. But again, Monica's mom, where's the explanation for that? Aren't you like a holier than thou? Aren't you perfect or whatever? Shouldn't you be, all about the church or whatever? Why are you talking bad about your daughter like that behind her back on the phone and you got caught? Like, just such a hypocrite. And she couldn't say anything really about that. And just, Monica's mom, this is 6 episodes in and you're already in the category of toxic housewife moms because, whew. And speaking of hypocrites, we see Heather and Whitney going out to ski together. They're talking about Jack's mission that he's going on and Heather doesn't agree that he should do it because she knows what it's like to do a mission and how she messed up a lot of people's lives by trying to manipulate them by joining the Mormon church. And she knows that the Mormon church represents racism, sexism, transphobia, all types of phobia. And Whitney, what is she saying? Well, I mean, good for Jack, I guess. And I'm like, so everything that you were complaining about, the last 2 seasons about how the Mormon church basically traumatized you, all of that was just a bunch of bullshit, Whitney? Because now, all of a sudden, it's, oh, well, good for Jack. And I get it, too. That's somebody else's son. I get it that you don't really want to talk bad about him. But at the same time, be honest with how you feel about it, just like Heather is. At least I'll give Heather that. I respect her enough by saying, yeah, me and Lisa, we could be cool, and that's her son. But I don't agree with the whole mission thing because X, Y, and Z. And again, both of you already lived through it. So I'm pretty sure that your experience is very similar to Heather from everything that we've heard about you, talking about the last 2 seasons, but yet now it's, oh, good for him. And she stayed quiet the entire conversation, just such a hypocrite. You want to make this a big deal, oh, I was so traumatized. I had to print out this paper to get out the Mormon church. I don't want to do that anymore, blah, blah, blah. And now it's, Well, I don't care, instead of actually using your voice like Heather is. And I'm assuming that maybe she's scared of the backlash. She doesn't want the same thing to happen to Heather's kids that happen to Heather's kids, to happen to her kids. Maybe that's why she's staying quiet about it. But I mean, at least have a backbone, and I personally am not the type to just go along with something just because you think it's right or whatever. If I think it's a bunch of bullshit, it's bullshit to me, and I'm not going to agree with this just because, oh, your son wants to do this. No, there is, in my opinion, from what they've explained everything in the Mormon church, there is no such thing as a good Mormon. So I'm not sure what Whitney's talking about. Oh, he's being a good Mormon. He's being a good Mormon. And then Lisa, in the preview for next week, oh, I'm focused on him being a good Mormon. You were a bad Mormon. What's a good Mormon? What is that? Because, I mean, if you really break it down, and at least from what they've been breaking down, it all sounds the same to me. But, just a mess. This whole episode was a mess. This episode was very interesting. But Whitney, I can't believe that. And then on top of that, again, she wants to stir the mess up again because she tells Heather, well, Lisa was actually really upset that you went out with Angie K and gave her a shot. She had a whole breakdown, and I'm not really sure how she feels about you. And of course, now there's going to be even more issues between her and Lisa because who? Whitney. Oh, Whitney. Just a messy, messy housewife. But that was the whole episode. Let me know what you all thought about this whole entire episode down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah, Monica's mom. The nerve of that lady. And Whitney. Anyways, bye. Mwah.